Okay, let's talk about the point of balance on a butterfly sword. This is a warrior knife. I don't believe it was really designed for flipping because well, first of all, it doesn't fit my thumb, although I'm bigger than the average Chinese a couple 150 years ago. But since it was being used by militia, I doubt if they had that level of training. And the quilling doesn't really look right for it. So where's the point of balance? Point of balance is about there. That probably explains why it's a little tough to flip. Here's one of the long stabbers from Model Design LLC. Here's the point of balance. It's pretty much within an inch of a plumb line dropped from the tip of this quilling down to the center of the blade. With a point of balance like that, I can safely flip if I know what I'm doing. And when I go to chop or when I go to slice, I also get some of the natural sword weight on the end of the sword. If I bring the point of balance back to here, this thing's going to move so fast it's going to be dangerous to flip. The sword will be a faster sword, but in the same vein, it's not going to be like I have a lot of the natural weight of the sword behind my strikes. I'm going to have to do it all with muscle and speed. Now here's a butterfly sword with a forward point of balance, and I'm confident it wasn't deliberate. This balance point should be back here. It's really difficult and unsafe to flip this knife for a couple of reasons. The primary one is the balance. Having the handle in the center of the blade doesn't help, and this uncomfortable D-guard doesn't help either. But the impact of moving the point of balance from where it should be forward is to essentially make the knife feel heavier. The weapon's going to move slower. I'm going to be slower on my blocks. I'm going to be slower on my covers and my parries. I'm going to be slower on my slices and chops. I'm not going to be slower on my thrusts. If I'm slower, I may miss a cover. And if I'm slower on a slice, the opponent may have a better opportunity to avoid being hit, to block the cover, to get out of the way and counter. Because the knife moves slower, it doesn't reach the same terminal velocity, so there's less energy generated on impact. I'm pretty confident that the point of balance on this knife is strictly the result of the construction process. This knife from Crane's Productions, which is a much higher quality knife, has a point of balance about an inch ahead of the quillion. It's intentionally a forward point of balance because that's the way they like to train. Contrast that to an everything Wing Chun knife or Model Design LLC knife. It's got a traditional point of balance, even though the blade on this is absolutely as thick. Actually, the blade on this is thicker than the blade on this. This one's poorly balanced. This one's properly balanced. Why is this properly balanced? Because someone cared and went to the extra work. It's got genuine fullers to take weight off. It's got a deep hollow grind to take weight off. When you start getting into the longer everything Wing Chun products, you begin to have to use more complicated techniques to control the balance point. This knife has a distal taper. It's also got a genuine lenticular grind, not one of those last 1mm grinds.